Welcome, all investors. In this programme, we introduce the successful companies selected from an incredible 350 applicants in the RebelBio 90-day accelerator programme for spring 2018. To look at each of the Rebels in detail, I'm joined by Bill Liao, who's the general partner, and John Carrigan, the chief scientist. John, Bill, why don't you pick out one of the companies you've chosen?
Excellent. Encelo.
Okay.
The thing that makes Encelo great is that they have found a way to collect close to stem cell-like cells from humans in pee.
Urine.
Yes.
They're also pluripotent, which means that you can stimulate them to form different cell types. So they're not just one cell type, they can actually form different actual cell types.
And so from an investor's point of view, Bill, what does that mean?
The speed at which we get new drugs to market, new treatments to market is largely dependent on how diverse the testing regime can be before you start trying it on animals or humans.
So John, why don't you pick another company?
Aha! I personally love June.
Tell me why.
The funny thing is, when you exercise, you might build up your testosterone, but if you exercise too much, you build up the stress hormone, and that actually eats your muscles rather than building them up.
It's actually quite interesting for a lot of us to know what our cortisol levels are. And as Bill suggested, if you're sending off your cortisol level somewhere and you get it back in a week or 2 weeks, that's not representative of where you are. It's not going to tell you very much.
So investors, what are their opportunities with June?
June is a platform technology, and as an investor, you're always looking for things that have multiple applications, and yet it's the one product that can be used. And so here is an opportunity to roll out a platform, not just to take the measurements, but also to have lifestyle suggestions, training suggestions, a feedback loop if you like. And that means that it's repeat revenue. It's something that people will continue to buy and they'll continue to test, maybe for a very long time. For an investor, that's a really good business.
Great. Let's look at another one.
Algiknit. So plastic lasts forever. It lasts for tens of thousands of years, and we use it a lot. Inside kelp seaweed, there is a chemical called alginate, which actually is commonly used in molecular gastronomy. It's edible, and yet they've found a way to turn it into fibers, which you can use to weave clothes or bags or shoes or whatever you want. And those fibers will be durable, they're strong, they're light, it's very cheap. And yet when it's done, when you've run your 200 miles in those runners, the microorganisms exist in the world that will eat that and it will evaporate, it will disappear.
Is the kelp actually grown in water?
Sodium alginate, which comes from kelp, is industrially produced.
Okay.
And it is produced at a very low cost, which is really what this is all about. Because we see a lot of fads coming in where people try to make alternative fashion items out of different things, but they're not scalable. They don't make any financial sense whatsoever. When we first saw this coming in, we looked at the cost and the actual what he was producing as a yarn, and we saw this works.
Chronomics. All of us have a genome. This is pretty well known. You have DNA. And they've found these little things called methylations. And it turns out that these little chemical bonds actually turn on and off certain genes. And they change. They change based on your life and what you do. And the team at Chronomics is, multiple PhDs in what's called epigenetics.
So with an idea as mind-blowing as epigenetics, is that an easy idea to discuss with an investor?
The very first business model for Chronomics is just to collect the data for you and store it. So get a little swab, send it to them, pay them a small fee, and they will store that data so there's a snapshot of your epigenome right now. Epigenetics opens the doorway to multiple business models.
Thank you both very much. You can track the progress of all of the teams on the RebelBio website, LinkedIn and Facebook. Thanks for watching.